Hey everybody, Jen Keenan here at the Four Squares Residential Group at Keller Williams Real Estate, coming to you with my Love the Way You Live video series. And as I've mentioned in the past, this year we're talking about loving the way you live in another market. And so I'm very pleased to have with me today Craig Smizer from 1835 Real Estate in Austin, Texas. And today we're going to talk about what it's like to live in Austin and, getting a feel for that place. So Craig, thank you so much for joining me.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah. So 1835, that's an interesting name. Tell me about it.
Well, 1835 is the year that the War for Texas independence began. October 2nd, the battle at Gonzales. And, I wanted a name that was very Texan, but not an over the top, lone state kind of a thing like that. So that's what it's named after.
Awesome. So Austin, Texas. So not Dallas, not Houston. So third biggest city in the state?
No, San Antonio would be bigger as
Okay. Yeah.
well. Yeah, so we're a big city, but we certainly don't rank up with the top ones. Uh,
Yeah.
but I'll keep Austin weird. That's it is getting harder and harder as the city grows with an influx of folks from outside of Texas. So it is definitely getting harder to keep what Austin is known for.
Well, funny you bring that up, and that's the whole reason for this video series is because we know folks from Greater Boston are relocating outside of New England to warmer places, and Austin being one of them. And so, what is it like to live in Austin? Talk to me a little bit about, just living there and the lifestyle, and you've traveled around, so
Yeah.
tell me about that.
Well, a few things about Austin that always come up. A lot of live music, right? A lot of music venues. A lot of just, hey, you'll go out to a restaurant and they've just got somebody there playing music. A lot of aspects of live performance. And then that's a long time Austin thing. It's a very outdoorsy place. A lot of people like to get out and bike and hike. Lance Armstrong, obviously was from here, and so a lot of people like to bike. But there's a lot of hiking. We've got several lakes. People like to get out on the water. So very much an outdoorsy place. It's a younger town. Definitely skews younger. I don't know I haven't tracked lately how the average age has fluctuated. I would actually presume we might be getting a little bit older as we have so many people here. But it's definitely a younger town.
Okay.
It's fairly diverse in its economy. For years, it was just kind of a sleepy college town. University of Texas is, the main campus is here in Austin, well over 50,000 students, and it's close to downtown. And so that was a main driver. Austin is the state capital of Texas. So obviously a lot of state employees are here. But over the last 20 years, it's really been a big shift towards technology companies, right? Dell Computers, this is the home of Dell. Michael Dell was a student who was selling computers out of his dorm room at University of Texas. The company is in Round Rock, one of the suburbs now. But they employ 14,000 people in the area. Apple has 7,000 or 8,000. They're building another campus, so they'll double their population here. All of the tech companies have a presence, whether it's Facebook. Google's got a downtown tower looking for more space. In an era right now, because of coronavirus, that so many office spaces are empty, we are not seeing that here in Austin. There is still an appetite from these tech companies to continue to take up commercial office space.
It's really interesting that you bring up the college, UT, because we obviously here at Greater Boston, we have a huge college presence, right?
Yeah.
And so we're used to that kind of influx of students in over the school year, and then it gets a little bit different in the summertime. But I think the jobs and the culture and the industry that comes with being a college town, whether here you're at BU or with your downtown at Harvard, at MIT, even in the suburbs, we have the 5 campus UMass system. We have colleges in the middle of the state, Holy Cross and whatnot. And so I think a lot of people here can relate to being around students and being in that kind of college and that academia. And I can see where that could pull some people from greater Boston to Austin for that familiarity, which I think we all, it's one thing to up and move somewhere, but you want to have a shred of familiarity, I think, to some degree, right? And certainly the industries are very similar, that I'm sure with the skill sets that folks have here and the jobs that they hold, it would be a very easy transfer to some place like Austin for a similar job, whether, you were mentioning the high tech industries, having a job at the colleges, a healthcare job for sure. So yeah.
Yeah, and obviously those are always big employers as well, right? All the hospitals, all the school districts, those sorts of things are obviously major employers as well.
Yeah. I want to pull up the Google Maps just to give a sense of, to the folks that are watching where kind of the areas that we're talking about. So let me just grab that here real quick. What did I, oh no, here we go. Hold on. Technical difficulties. So if we're looking at Austin, should I zoom in more, Craig? Are we good at this distance, or
we'll take it from here, then we're going to zoom out.
Okay. All right.
So where it says Austin and where you see Texas Capitol and the University of Texas, that's the downtown area.
Okay.
Now, what you see on this map labeled as the Colorado River, rarely will you hear anyone call it the Colorado River. As it runs through, there's a series of dams that start a long way away from Austin, up to the northwest. That back in the 30s and 40s, a series of dams were built. And so while it certainly looks like a river in many places, in front of downtown Austin, it's Lady Bird Lake, named after Lady Bird Johnson. Lyndon Johnson is from here. That this was, this would have been his congressional district when he was a congressman. And then, of course, he was a senator from here before being president. Lady Bird is a very beloved figure around here. And so that was Lady Bird Lake. In front of Mount Bonnell that you see on the map, that would be Lake Austin. At the very top, where you start to see it look more like a lake, that would be Lake Travis. Okay. Yeah, so there are, it's just a series of dams. Like I said, it looks like a river. We'll call it a lake because it's dammed up.
It's funny, yeah. I love those nuances when because those are things that only the locals know, right? You get a transplant, and you're like, oh, it's the river. It's like, no, it's not.
And I'm going to mention this as we're talking about it. What do the locals know? I have a video series entitled Discover Austin. And I think over 80 videos in the series now. And you can find them on YouTube, youtube.com/Discover Austin. You can find the Discover Austin Facebook page.
Great.
And that's the kind of stuff that we share. It's designed to share the culture of Central Texas with people who are not familiar with it. And we look at, we'll tour the Texas Capitol, visits to restaurants, and, just the breadth of it. And most of it's in Austin. Then we've got some in the suburbs, and then sometimes we even take road trips, right?
Perfect.
Outside of the Austin area. So that's a great resource if someone's looking to find out more about the Austin area.
Great. And we'll definitely link up to that too. So we'll be able to get that to my sphere here. So, okay.
So you see I-35 running right down the center. We pretty much use that as an east-west dividing line. In the city. Austin on the east is fairly flat as it heads into, the eastern part of Texas. But as we go to the west and northwest of Austin, it's the beginning of the Texas Hill Country. It's a big geographic area where we have rolling hills and nice looking country. And so as you move further west in Austin, that's the type of topography that you have. It's also, not coincidentally, it's a prettier place to live, tends to be where more expensive homes are. If you see on the map Terrytown, Westlake Hills, Rolling Wood, those are expensive areas in Austin. Okay. Obviously, downtown's an expensive area. I get a lot of calls from parents of kids at UT who have heard that, hey, it's a great thing to buy a condo, buy a house while my kid's there. And then, I've never, ever sold one to someone like that. The prices are, and that the numbers seem to really don't make much sense. It's only an appreciation play, really, is what it is. And so we don't really have a lot of that goes on.
We get a lot of that here. In fact, I just put a contract together for
Yeah.
parents who are in California. Their daughter's coming to Harvard Law in the fall, and they just scooped her up a condo. So yeah, that's not uncommon here. But yeah,
Yeah.
same. The numbers got to work because they're going to hold it as a long-term investment, et cetera, et cetera. So
Yeah, no, that's a very interesting one. And so the tech world, fortunately, is spread out around Austin. Some are downtown. You can see the Samsung Austin semiconductor plant. We actually do have a semiconductor plant, and Samsung has a lot of employees here. Right next to them is General Motors Technology Center. They realized years ago they couldn't get young tech people to go to Detroit. So they have several thousand people here in Austin. Up at the Domain North side, that's a big shopping center. It's also an area where we have Facebook is located. Indeed's headquarters are there, the jobs website. Quite a number of them are there. Apple is a little bit off the map if you go down, exposing more of the north side. We will see up around where it says Millwood, McNeil, Jollyville. That's Apple's existing campus is up there, and their second campus is just down the street, very close.
So if someone were going to commute, say from like Terrytown up to Apple, what does that commute look like in terms of the
that
time?
commute would be easy because it's going against the downtown flow.
Okay.
So that would be a real easy commute. The like many big cities, there, especially ones that are growing, traffic pre-COVID terrible. But when you see Mopac, the one we call it Mopac, but it's easier to see the number 1 on that map, and 35, those are the two main north-south freeways. You see 360, that runs north-south a bit, but unfortunately, that's got a lot of stoplights on it.
Okay.
3 is another big one, but yeah, our roads are congested. A lot of the Californians come and they're like, well, this is fine, but you'll rush hour, which is better than what we have. We have rush hour all the time.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we'll see how it is with so many people who moved here during COVID that just work out of their homes. But whenever we get back to a lot of people in offices, we'll see how bad it's gotten.
So let's talk about real estate, because obviously that's our expertise.
Yeah.
And when folks come into Austin, where obviously it would depend somewhat to where their job is and what they're going to be doing. But would you say that there are some more popular communities than others?
Oh, absolutely. Right. I mean, for people who, let's say you're young, maybe you've got little kids, maybe you have no kids, you want to be close to the downtown action. South Congress would be a very popular place. Congress itself being a commercial district, but all around, all the residential around it is very pricey on a price per square foot basis as far as we're concerned. And that would be just a little bit south of where Austin is labeled on the map on the other side of Lady Bird Lake. Yeah.
Okay. Down here.
Down in that area down there. Absolutely.
Oh, I see. South Congress. Yeah. Okay.
Now we do have, condos, high-rise condos in downtown. And it seems like there's always another crane going up, to build another one. So there's plenty there. But and then, of course, we have lots of master planned communities. Austin is a very young town in terms of its history, right? I mean, Austin's been around a long time, but it's been a small town. So much of what I sell is less than 20 years old, which I know is very different. Come from
very different.
Yeah.
So and let's I'd love to see some. I'm going to give you the ability to share your screen. So let's see, because as I've mentioned when I'm talking to some previous interviews I've done, the average sale price here in Middlesex County is about $700,000, give or take, depending on the town you're in. We have the biggest county here in Massachusetts. So I always like to be able to compare, what does that get you somewhere else? So why don't we talk a little bit about that? I know you have some listings to show us.
Yeah, I've got a few ready to go. So let's start with, if you wanted to spend $700,000 on a condo in downtown Austin, okay?
Yeah.
So let's run through a few photos here. This is under 1,000 square feet, But I presume, much like in your area, the higher the floor, the more expensive it gets,
Yep.
right? This building's, I don't remember what the age is on this one. We'll pull it once I'm done with the photos. But you can see
Beautiful.
it's been well appointed and
Yeah.
got nice views. And in one of these pictures, I know I'm going to point out a particular building. I can see it in that one, but I know we've got a better shot coming.
This is great. Very modern. It's very different than how our properties are finished.
Yeah. No, this would be this is very common for downtown. Well, we'll definitely see differences as you move across the city. Obviously, the view from there, you can see that's
Very nice.
Bird Lake down there. But this, let's go back here, I guess. This building that we see the side of here, which I think we get a better shot of. Yeah, there we go.
Oh, yeah.
This is nicknamed the Jenga building. So much on here, but from other angles, it is offset a little bit. You can see there's an offset here and an offset there. And this is a recent construction. I think they've about finished. They have finished it up, and all the units have been sold. But ranging from about $1 to $4 million in that building.
Okay.
So
show me a single family.
So a single family. Let's go out to the suburbs.
Okay.
This house is a listing of mine, so I can tell you that it sold for well over 700,000, which is one of the things our market is doing, right? We're just seeing tremendous houses selling for 20, 25, 30% over what's being asked.
Yep, same here.
This is in a community called Steiner Ranch. It's a very family-oriented community. There's 3 elementary schools on site, 1 middle school. The high school is outside of the neighborhood. But there's a 4,400 home master plan community, hills, trees. It's got lake on 3 sides of it. So it's, 20 miles of hike and bike trails. So it's a very popular neighborhood. This house it was built in 99. So built in 2000. It's about 21 years old. And it's about 3,000 square feet. This one has not been heavily updated from when it was built. 4 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms.
That's lovely. Yeah,
this one sold.
I'm sorry, Craig, go ahead.
I was gonna say this one sold for, over 700.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's the biggest difference in terms of, you can spend the same amount of money, but you're getting a house double the size of what you're going to get here.
Yeah.
Just not so much room count, I would say, but just the scale of the rooms. And the added touches like a tub and a shower. That's, you're not going to see that a lot here. Yeah, lovely, beautiful.
Yeah. And so you probably don't have a whole lot of game rooms, obviously, given the size of the homes. You don't have that extra.
No, but actually, question for you: we have a lot of basement. Mostly every house has a basement. Do you guys have basements?
Rare. It is extremely rare to find a basement because around here, this area is built on limestone, right, in the hill country. And so while it is, we just don't have basements. You'll find them occasionally. You have Toll Brothers where you live, right? Toll Brothers builders?
We don't have builders. Like, we don't build. We have no land.
Oh, sorry.
So,
I got it.
So unless you're building, if you're tearing something down and rebuilding on the same lot. But I'd say almost all of our properties have basements, some of which are still dirt floor basements, but your rec room or your game room might be in the basement as a family room versus on the main level.
Yeah.
So tell me one other thing that kind of is unique about your market, or something that, you get questions from people that come in out of town, something that they're surprised to learn.
Something that people are surprised to learn. I think one of the things is when people think Texas, Dallas comes to mind if they're, more along my age, right? They think of Dallas,
our age.
Right? Yeah, think of Dallas, and the stereotype of Texas is what you are really going to find in West Texas, where it's flat, where it's arid, where the oil is being drilled. That's what people think, that everybody's walking around in cowboy boots and cowboy hats and all that stuff. When you get into the cities in Texas, what you're going to find is you be in really any big city. The accent you are not going to really find very much in the cities. The typical Texas accent you're not going to find there because the cities have grown so much over the last 2 decades with people from all over the country. That is one of the things that a lot of Texans lament is that the Texas that used to be is slowly disappearing. We do have, I mean, I own a hat, I own boots. Do I wear them? No, but going out dancing, places like that, it's good to have. So it's people's stereotypical image of Texas still exists, but not in the cities.
I love it. I love it. Well, Craig, thank you so much for spending some time with me today for us to learn about Austin. And certainly, anybody that's watching this, check out Real Estate in Austin. That's Craig's website. If you'd like a personal connection, if you're considering about making a move, happy to connect you. Craig has a great group of people that he works with. And as you can see, just an all around lovely person. So, Craig, thank you again for your time today. Look forward to sending you referrals of the great state of Texas, and can't wait to come visit personally myself as well.
Sounds good. Thanks for the
All
time.
right.
All
All
right.
right.
Bye.